Welcome to Remembering You, a space for slowing down, seeing again, and gathering the parts of yourself that the world asked you to forget.
Each week, we wander through stories, ancient, personal, and collective, to explore how perspective changes everything. How what we look at and how we look can open doors to who we truly are.
Take a breath, feel your feet.
You've arrived.
Let's begin remembering you. Oh, that's me. I thought that was you. I was like, what are you playing?
Nope.
That's funny. Oh, yeah, I'm recording. Okay.
Check, 1, 2.
Notes. Do I have a speaker? Okay. Emptiness.
Buddhism has emptiness.
Yep.
Masonry stages it.
Like the Masons.
The Masons,
Okay,
yes.
you said masonry and I'm like, brick builders? Oh, okay, got it.
Christianity sanctifies it as self-emptying. Alchemy works it as dissolution. The Kabbalah imagines it as a hidden nothing from which manifestation arises.
Emptiness. It's a big idea.
Is anything really empty?
All is empty.
Oh. So, my love, how's that make you feel?
Well, if you would have asked me this 3 years ago, I would have said, fucking terrified. Now it's delightful. But it did not always feel so delightful. It's it can be a pretty destabilizing concept when you first start engaging with it.
One of the first pointers within Buddhism or mindfulness practice was empty like the sky.
Yeah, like the sky is just like a screen that the weather floats by on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Such is the nature of our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So what does emptiness do in your nervous system today?
Depends on the day. Mostly it's freedom. Mostly it feels like spaciousness. So I told you this morning when we were having coffee that as I was falling asleep last night, I kind of had a cool experience. So lately, I don't know how long this has been going on, maybe 6 months or so. As I fall asleep, I just rest in awareness. And quite frankly, genuinely recognizing awareness is pretty new. Like I thought I had recognized it, but I think it really clicked into place. Well, actually, more recently, like maybe with only in the last couple of months. So anyway,
when you say awareness,
yeah,
are you acknowledging that there is a new felt sense of awareness?
Yeah.
Not just an idea in your mind, but awareness as experience.
Right. Yeah, no, this is not just a concept. It's like you kind of have to use it. It starts out as a concept. That's like the first thing we can hold on to. It's like, okay, I know I should be looking for this thing that, all these teachers and people keep pointing to. And it's like, where is it? Where, like, is that it? Is that it? Is that, that, like, I've kind of been doing that for years now and could feel sort of a deeper recognition over time. It's not like it was just this static experience internally, but like a I think I genuinely got it for the first time just a couple of months ago. So I'm resting in awareness last night as I'm drifting off to sleep. And there was a thought that bubbled up, and I don't even remember what the thought was. But for whatever reason, there was this moment of like really feeling or recognizing the way that like reality itself is constructed into like we are constructing from the inside the external world in a sense. And that's another one of those teachings that I've heard for many years and been trying to feel my way into like, what do they mean by that? Like, is it like this or is it like that? And it was just this spontaneous felt recognition experience of that teaching. It was so delightful. And I was like, oh, wow, that's what they mean. And so I was just laying there half asleep, really, just kind of like delighting in the recognition. And now that I say it in this moment, I also think it's kind of a big deal that it didn't terrify me. I didn't really think about that before. Normally things like that kind of freak me out at first, but this was just I think delight would be too strong of a word. It was just a very lovely, subtle kind of like, ooh, fun, look at that. so it was a moment of, I think, my understanding of emptiness deepening is why I tell that story.
That's beautiful. You have enough guardrails on your experience to help you navigate or continue moving forward without the wheels and the rails dissolving into nothing.
Yep.
And that's what practice, whatever our form of practice is, will help us. Yeah. Whether that's nature-based practices or traditional meditation.
Yep. Or contemplation and I'm no longer trying to control it so much. And the control was completely compulsive. Like it wasn't under my conscious control. It would just.
Your awareness was control.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. And I couldn't not. Like it was the only thing I knew how to do. And paradoxically, the more I tried to not control, I mean, that was just another form of control. So it was like, it's just been a really long road of trying to figure out how to surrender and just let be what is. And boy, that one's hard. So I'm still figuring that one out, but it's progressing, so to say. What is emptiness like for you? Like, how is this in your experience?
So the framework or relationship to emptiness has changed, evolved, morphed in my experience. This morning I went for a walk, and there is a space on our property where it feels like prairie land. There's a lot of different types of grasses. And in that space last year, I planted some wildflowers, bee balm specifically. And I love the smell, and the pollinators absolutely love the bright, vibrant purple flowers. But they didn't come up. And we've had a lot of rain. And so as I'm walking, my first thought was, oh, the space is still empty of the wildflowers that I'm trying to get to grow here in this space. And I have no idea why they didn't come up. There's there's something inside of me, okay, that space needs to be filled. Or maybe not, maybe need is too strong of a word. It's, there's potential here in this topos, in this ground. And what can grow, blossom, flourish? The native grasses are fantastic. And I'd like to have a smattering of wildflowers in that space. And I share that story as a way to relate to our cultural programming around the idea of space that's empty. I don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, well, you know, nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
And how many times have we watched it take place?
In our own lives.
In our own lives,
Yeah.
all
And
over.
yeah.
If you're walking on our property right now, the paths that I mowed last year are the places where the wildflowers are most prolific.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We have a path of flowers now that move through the property.
There's a smattering of flowers in the grasses, and because we don't have forest fire, knock on wood, or control burns, it's not removing the grasses which are overshadowing the potential of new growth and other species taking root and having a good footing. So yeah, the way that emptiness can be fearful, and I would probably say when in my teen years there was that sense of there's so much noise. How do I meet the noise? I meet the distraction with something that I can focus on. And so I would listen to music to help me find focus. But it really didn't help me be able to navigate or discern all of the voices or the distractions that were filling my head and my experience. And so it wasn't until I started meditating and then went off to school and started every morning going outside and spending an hour in nature, practicing different forms of Christian meditation and contemplation, that I was able to cut through the silence or the stillness that was underneath all of the noise and the distraction, and resting into that sense of spaciousness that is holding all of the clutteredness of my experience. So that was an early way of relating. And I think also there really wasn't even though there was a great deal of spiritual or religious information, education, programming that I received, it wasn't until my mid to late 20s that I started to have concepts around the same Buddhist idea of emptiness. And so it was referred to from John of the Cross's Christian mystics' writings, the great unknowing. So before I would have said, well, emptiness, that sounds a whole lot like God isn't there. So you must be an atheist. If you're talking about emptiness, because God is everywhere and in everything.
Right. So it's kind of a literal, like you're taking the word to mean something void. Yeah.
So as a fundamentalist, I would have looked at that as this is something to be viewed suspiciously. Like if there's nothing there, then there's no creator there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I should find God in the stillness and in the quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And if I find stillness or emptiness in my soul, that means I'm not a real self. Therefore, I'm not an eternal being. And what's going to go to heaven when I die?
Oh, sure. Oof, that's a big anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially when that is the main mechanism of motivation.
Yeah.
I asked Jesus into my heart so that I get to go to heaven when I die.
Right.
And I don't go to hell.
Right.
And if that's not, then what? And then it felt like there was no fixed truth. So maybe relativism
Yeah.
comes to mind, like emptiness. Well, how do we define emptiness? Where are the edges? Where are the corners? And so from, I guess, a philosophical perspective, or trying to have a framework psychologically, and from a spiritual religious perspective, it was just dangerous. It comes from another religion. People would quote, "Oh, this comes from Buddhism," and it's like, "Oh, I've got to avoid it at all costs because this is dangerous." And yet, the more time I spent in silence and solitude, I was experiencing what Eckhart Tolle beautifully outlines in his book, Stillness Speaks. And there was a sense of, this isn't bad. This stillness, this emptiness that is around everything and holding everything is a gift to be experienced. So to answer your question, I think in my own progression or unfolding of different levels of awareness or human development in my experience, it's gone from being black and white and therefore othered or dangerous to emptiness is all around, and so and in everything. And so whatever energetically is coming to the forefront of my experience in this moment, it's always supported or held by emptiness, which energy comes and goes, emotions come and go, challenging people or situations come and go, and all of those are always held or supported or surrounded by the safety or the confidence or the reality of emptiness in my experience.
I love that.
It doesn't always feel good.
No.
If you think of a baby and their startled response when you hold a newborn, one head under the butt, one hand underneath the head, and you just drop them, and they do this arm and leg kind of flailing thing. Like when I went through an experience of being dropped into emptiness, and there was no way for me to define anything else except everything is empty. Like the verse in Ecclesiastes, vanity, vanity, all is vanity. It just wasn't, I wasn't able to rest, or I wasn't able to find a stability. And so it just took time to bring a framework and attention and a felt sense of safety, or maybe I could say home again in my experience.
So will you unpack that vanity, vanity, all is vanity? Because I imagine folks are wondering, how the hell does that connect to emptiness?
So King Solomon was viewed as the wisest man in antiquity. Okay. And in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 2, he has these words. He says, "Vanity, vanity, saith the preacher, vanity of vanity, all is vanity. And we could say that the word vanity, the word picture that goes along with it is mist.
Mist. Okay.
So it is a liquid.
Yeah.
It is a gas.
Yeah.
You experience it because it obstructs your view.
Yep.
If you have an early morning commute and it's foggy,
Yeah.
your headlights hit
Uh-huh.
and you can't see past that wall of fog. And you continue driving and that wall of fog, that vanity doesn't stop you. So like you can go through it.
Okay. Yeah.
You see it, it feels like something's there. It looks like something's there. Your mind is telling you there's something there. And then ultimately you pass through it. It passes around you.
So it's not an actual obstruction, in other words. It just
Yes.
appears like one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in politics, one of our politicians just made the statement that the red, white, and blue bubble is going to protect the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And immediately my thought is, vanity, vanity? All is vanity? The red, white, and blue bubble. If you've ever gone to a children's museum or went to a children's program where they had the bubble solution in these large pans, and then they had the bubble wands that were bigger than you were, and so you're standing inside it, and they lift up the wand, and it's going around you, and you find yourself encased inside this bubble.
Yeah.
And there is a part of our mind that says, oh, this is not good. And then there's delight of, all I have to do is stick my finger and touch the bubble wall, and it, poof, it's gone. So in Ecclesiastes, the invitation is for us to recognize that we have many things in our experience. The last podcast we talked about desire. There are things that we think we want, that when we attain or reach, we find out that it's just a bubble and it pops. And the reality is, at least according to science right now, is that we actually find more enjoyment and satisfaction and contentment in the process versus in the attainment of our desire or our dreams or those things that move us forward with intention and great, sometimes pomp and circumstance. So the rabbis had a phrase, stringing pearls, and the idea of stringing pearls was gathering all of the little beautiful wisdom pieces from the Torah, from the Hebrew scriptures. And if we were going to do that, just staying in the book of Ecclesiastes, I would start off with the idea that vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And I'd go to Ecclesiastes 1:14. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. He goes on, chapter 2:11, when I looked at all the works that my hands hath wrought, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. It gets even more depressing. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their hearts. That one especially is powerful because it suggests that we carry a longing too large and ordinary for our own achievement, pleasure, or control to gain some sort of satisfaction in our lives. And we move towards things and then find out that, again, arrival is not the journey. And maybe the journey is the gift in where we're moving and what we're doing. So, satisfaction. The last verse that I'll share from Ecclesiastes: better is a handful with quietness than both the hands full of travail and vexation of spirit.
Can I share one of my favorite quotes that kind of point at emptiness?
Please.
This one's the Buddhist view. So during our meditation training, I think it was second year, we were encouraged to get a book called Seeing That Frees by Rob Burbea, who is a meditation guy, lived in England. He recently died. Anyway, his book is it is widely considered to be the best at kind of pointing, especially Westerners, because, if you grew up in India or Tibet or any of those cultures, you have a kind of culturated training that we just do not have here in the West. And so he did a really good job of kind of how do we speak to the Western mind to be able to transmit some of these teachings. So his explanation of emptiness. So this is a direct quote from his book. We feel and take for granted that selves and things are as real as they seem to be, that they exist as they appear to in a substantial way, in and of themselves, from their own side, as it were. Their reality seems obvious. We assume in a way that involves no thinking that our bodies, or this book, for instance, exist independently of other things and independently of the mind that knows them. We feel that a thing has an inherent existence, that this existence, its being, inheres it in itself alone. Believing then that this real self can really gain or lose real things or experiences which have real qualities, grasping and aversion, and thus dukkha, or suffering, arise inevitably. So it seems just so plainly obvious that this chair I am sitting in is I can bonk on it and it makes a noise and it's an object and I can do all kinds of scientific tests and I can tell you what it's made of and I can burn it in a fire and it'll look like it turns into ashes, and all of that is absolutely true. And that I am a body and I am separate from this chair, and that it all exists in this very objective reality. And that is true. So this was one of my big confusions when, especially that second year of meditation training, where we were doing lots of insight practice, and I, quite frankly, was not really ready for that. I mean, I was in a sense, but it really wasn't skillful. I struggled in ways that, in retrospect, I can be like, oh, that was probably not very necessary, but whatever, I survived and I'm here now. So it freaked me the fuck out to think I read that and I'm like, well, what do you mean this chair isn't real and I'm not real? And if the world around me is a dream, I took it so literally because that's really all you can do. And that causes and maybe there's no way around it. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just kind of a unavoidable to some degree interpretation, because that's, we all engage with new ideas from kind of a literal fundamental perspective. And I don't mean fundamental in a religious sense, but just very concrete, basic. And then as we kind of turn them over in our heads and feel through it, we start to see some of the more subtle nuances. So anyway, this one really, really freaked me out. And I think for fully, oh God, how long? Year and a half? At least 2 years? I don't know. It was a while. Like I knew that I was interpreting it. I knew that I was seeing it in a fundamentalist way. And I knew that it wasn't correct. I knew there was more to it, but it just takes a while to wrestle with, and fuck, anxiety, man.
Not fun.
It was intense. So I guess that, so I want to like normalize that if you're engaging with ideas on emptiness, one, it's totally common to have it freak you out. And other people can then kind of come to the conclusion that like maybe this nihilistic sort of, well, then there's no point. So we can kind of fall into hopelessness, maybe.
I like the way, so I think the Buddhist, like to simply say it, emptiness can reveal interbeing. And then in the at least conservative, maybe evangelical Christianity, emptiness is used to direct or move people towards dependency on God.
To dependency on God.
Dependency on God.
What do you mean by that?
So, for God so loved the world that he gave.
His only son.
There was a sin problem, and so there needed to be healing, cleansing, freedom, removal of what was bad.
Yeah.
And then you are a empty vessel.
Oh.
So
Okay.
my charismatic brothers and sisters were very focused on the indwelling of the Holy Spirit.
Sure.
How do I get filled up? I feel empty right now, which was another way, the way I would have used that, I feel empty right now, is I don't feel charge, or I don't feel big energy, or I don't feel tons of warm fuzzies on the inside or on the outside.
Yep.
I feel empty, so I need to be filled with God.
Okay.
In my experience. So emptiness would have been the experience of coming to a realization that I am dependent on God for my filling.
Got it. Okay.
Or we could also go back to the Garden of Eden, where the divine breathes into the flesh and blood that was created out of the soil, and it becomes a living being. And so it was empty of the God presence or God essence. And then God filled, and it became a living being. So I would say a thoughtful fundamentalist, or as I started to reflect or become aware of more of my inner process and how the way I see was directing what I see, I began to appreciate that ego, craving, possessions, achievement, and control can't satisfy me in my experience. So adding to my life while also rejecting the idea that emptiness appears to deny God, the soul, or biblical truth. Like there was just a wrestling that took place. And I think that's probably healthy in our experience as we start to, what is this really?
Well,
how do I frame
it
this
strikes
experience?
me how it's a very similar, it's like a mirror for, so you're speaking to a spiritual experience and kind of a, like that layer of our human being. But then there's also the, like I had a very similar one that was more scientific and rational, but it was the same thing. it was like, I need more understanding. I need more data. I need to look at this more closely. I need to achieve. I need to, so that like that expertise, that achiever mindset. And and then there's the way that the ego kind of all engages with that. And I mean, in some ways it's healthy and in some ways it can be problematic. But that eventually I find like I am still left wanting, and it's not actually fixing the deeper thing. Like it is providing me something at a kind of surface layer, but like if I'm really honest with myself and if I'm kind of paying attention in those quieter moments, I recognize like something still doesn't feel right. And what is this? And so it's just, I think it's such a universal experience, whether you're a religious person or not, or you're more scientifically minded, or if you're kind of none of the above, maybe you're more artistic and creative and, or nature based. Like there's doesn't matter which lens you're looking at it through. I think we all go through some version of this.
Think of the last time you walked into something that you might use the term cavernous.
Okay.
And it could be a cathedral,
Yeah.
or it could be some large building,
Big cave
in the city. It could be a cave, could be a dense forest, and all of a sudden you walk into a space where there's really tall trees and it's just wide open. If you imagine stepping into that space, what do you feel the response from your body in that practice of imagining? Does it lean forward just a little bit, just slightly, or does it lean back? Like, is there a desire to go into a big open space, or is there a desire to withdraw and contract? I think that's an interesting practice for us that are curious. What is my relationship to emptiness?
I love that.
So that may be a practice to do. How do I relate to emptiness, or how does my body? Because oftentimes our body, a few seconds before our mind has already figured out what experience is in relationship to what's taking place in the moment. I think we could probably say that we feel emptiness in everyday, ordinary life around silence after we've had a hard conversation. It could be like, oh, I don't like that there's emptiness in this moment. It's not angry or charged or withdrawn or fighting. It's just empty. And then within the relational context, then we have the choice. How do we respond? What are we going to build? What are we going to co-create within that empty space after a rupture?
Well, and fundamentally, this is not like teachings on emptiness are not about ideas that we decide whether or not are true, or that, or like in a belief kind of way. Fundamentally, it has to be felt. And so you bringing in the body is enormously important, because it is entirely an internal, like, what does this feel like in my own experience? And in that, I mean, inevitably we're going to feel some discomfort or some aversion or some like part of us that wants to cling and control and grasp and direct and steer. And so just learning how to be with that in a skillful way, being able to tolerate the discomfort or the joy.
The loss of certainty.
Yes. Yes. Like your internal reactivity or clinging or grasping or love or hate, whichever end of the spectrum and everything in between, like that is your teacher. It is the very best teacher you could ever hope for. and like attuning to that and becoming its friend is just such a wonderful thing.
The men's retreat that I co-facilitated recently had a practice. It was an embodiment meditation practice. And I got feedback from two groups. So there were young men and then there were older men. And older men were in their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Younger were in their late 20s into their 30s. And it was interesting to reflect on how we at different stages relate to our body. For the men who I would say are elders at the end of their life, their relationship to their bodies and embodiment practices was, our body is failing us.
Sure.
Our body is not predictable. Our body is not able to move and shift and meet whatever need in the moment arises without thought, like we were in our 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And the young men were having this, I would say it was a different side of the coin, where there was a feeling of being invincible, and there's no need to feel into the body right now because it's always dependable. Mm-hmm. It's always there. Mm-hmm. And so there was both were kind of, I guess I could use the word aversion to being in the body. It's like, I don't want to do this because it's painful, versus why do I need to do this because this is
there's no problem here. Like
the way it's always been, and it'll always be this way.
Yeah.
Because I'm 20-something-year-old and I'm invincible. Yep. And I remember what that feels like.
Same. Yeah.
And I'm also not to a place where a 70-year-old is, that my body is failing.
Yeah.
And I can't trust my body and the certainty of it. So different expressions of the same truth. And I think are important, are valid to name wherever we are, because in a body, emptiness can feel uncomfortable until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then once it doesn't, it's like, wow, this is great. I recommend it. Thinking of emptiness within the context of a creative block. Have you ever been wanting to create something and just been like, all I'm staring at is a blank page and I can't fill this with anything? Yeah. Like, where do I get my creative juices flowing? The focus or the emphasis is not on the gift of emptiness in that moment. It's on, how do I get past writer's block or my creative wall that I just hit in my experience. And playing with that relationship reveals how I relate to creativity.
In my early kind of trying to feel through and understand what all these pointers around emptiness were about. And I also, I think it's important to name, I had been already, as a psychologist, like as I was learning, acceptance and commitment therapy or somatic experiencing or parts work. So almost every single Western therapy is rooted in emptiness, fundamentally. Many of the creators of some of our most bestest Western therapies spent time in India or worked with Eastern teachers and then internalized that and kind of put it into a Western context. And so I recognized when I came across more traditional Buddhist teachings on emptiness, I'm like, oh, it's the same thing. And so as I was trying to really understand what the heck they were pointing to, like one of the easier handles to grab onto was feeling the way two people could be in the exact same situation and walk away with almost exact opposite interpretations. And so there's a way in which I can say, well, you know, this person has this personality and that person has that personality, which is a very, I mean, which is true at a level, but there's a deeper thing going on there that emptiness is kind of trying to point us towards. That, you know, Rob Rebeo was saying in his book that we take things to be just self-evident. Like, it seems so obvious to us that this particular situation would be this way, but in truth, it's probably open to a gajillion different interpretations. And so that's kind of a little pointer to things are not as solid and real as they seem in the way that we take them to be. And so emptiness doesn't, like, another stumbling block that I would then run into is, well, what role does accountability play? So if I interpret this situation in one way and another person interprets it another way, who's right, so to say? Like, how do I hold ethics? And so this was a trap, you know, that we really struggled with at the house that I was living at when we first met. So it's like one person saw the space in one way and we experienced it another way. And how do we hold one another accountable? How do we manage conflict in this way? So it can be a really, it is a multi-layered cake that is just, but all of it is trying to show us something deeply, deeply true about the nature of reality and about the nature of being a human. And like, how I actually feel curious how you navigate emptiness and accountability, or ethics, say.
Thank you. Within Buddhism, there's the term enter with the learner's mind.
Sure. Yep.
Which, depending on where I am in my vertical development,
Yep.
we're going to look at that from different perspectives. So I would say that in my younger years, as someone who took the Christian scriptures and tried to apply it literally in my world, I would hear Ephesians 2:7, where it says that Christ emptied himself of all of the godness, the deity, and took upon himself the form of humanity, took flesh. And in a very concrete way, God the Son set aside his godness so that he could take on the frail brokenness of the human flesh that is corruptible and disease and programmed cell death, and I need sleep, and I need to go poop, and I need a shower, and all of those things that were like, you know, the queen doesn't need to take a poop.
We don't want to think about such things.
Like,
yes.
because she's the queen. And so, like, we project all of that onto the idea, or as a fundamentalist, the reality and the concreteness of God.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, sure.
and yet Jesus emptied oneself of that and took on the form of flesh. And I would say embodied the learner's mind. So much so that when he was 12 years old, his family goes to Jerusalem for Passover feast, and while they're there, Mary and Joseph leave, and Jesus gets left behind. And so a couple days pass, and they realize that he's missing. He's not in the party. And so they go back to find him sitting with the teachers in the temple. And his response is that, well, don't you know that I'm here and I should be about my Father's business? And he was asking questions, and he was expounding, and he was he was teaching. Like there was a learner. The way that rabbis teach was asking questions. And it was within the energy of, I am not the expert here. I am asking questions to help reveal my learner mind and to engage with your learner mind in this moment. So it wasn't power over, it was power with that Jesus was demonstrating as a little 12-year-old boy who had been left behind by his family. And so I think in my experiences, I relate to emptiness. There is a way in which I will stop and listen. And if before I've stopped and listened, if I have a presumption or a judgment about someone or something, I will stop and just take a deep breath and like acknowledge, okay, I have a bias in this moment. And I will let that go, because if I take my biased energy into a situation, then it's gonna cloud my judgment and ability to be present. So I can also recognize, because of embodiment practices that I've done over the years, when my body tells me before my learner's mind gets there, that someone or something or a situation is not in alignment with what my truth is. So if I'm always trying to figure things out in my mind, this is going to rub us wrong. That's not learner's mind. And I don't know exactly how I want to say that right now. So I'm just naming that.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate
because
that.
it sounds like I'm doing doublespeak, or I'm disagreeing with myself. So learner's mind is not a mind that is trying to figure everything out.
Yeah. Quite the opposite.
Big time.
Yeah.
So our minds have been successful in the process of evolution to help us be able to analyze threat immediately. And therefore, if there's a rustle in the bushes, our ancestors survived because our mind went
Yep.
fight, flight, freeze. Let's haul.
Yeah.
Learner's mind is recognizing that fight, flight, freeze served us, and that's not our reality in this moment. Recently, I was in a meeting, and one of my teammates that I admire their skill in the piece of the pie that they hold within the hospice care team, because they do it masterfully, but they were dysregulated. And so normally they are able to communicate and be present in a way that is reassuring to everyone else in the team. But this meeting, they were dysregulated, and their mind and also their body, the posture that they had, was indicating fight, flight, freeze with everything that happened around that conference table. Everything. And I knew what was going to happen the next day. They were going to call off sick, because literally their body is telling them it is not safe for you to go to work.
Yeah. Yep.
And these are one of the most amazing hospice care provider workers that I know. But because of being dysregulated. And that's the difference between our mind trying to figure it all out versus learner's mind being able to receive in a non-judgmental way, where everything has to be good or bad, or this is an attack, or this is somebody being for me.
So in other words, they'd kind of lost the capacity to hold their reactivity in a skillful way. They just kind of were their reactivity. Like they were just totally caught in it.
Embodied it.
Yep.
100%.
Yep. Yeah, of course. I mean, we've all been there.
So the way boundaries come into play. So I have a learner mind. I'm open. I'm not taking anything personally. I'm hearing all sides. I have nothing to defend. And if someone interrupts me repeatedly, boundaries say that it's okay for me to raise my hand and say, excuse me, may I finish what I was saying? You just interrupted me. Without being triggered and going all DEFCON 6 on their ass.
Right.
Which
Ooh, boy.
that takes time.
Oh my gosh.
But when one person is triggered or one person is dysregulated, everybody else recognizes it, and either the blood is in the water and the sharks are circling, or everybody else, whether their learner's mind was cueing on this, everyone else feels disempowered, concerned, scared, because someone who is a rock normally all of a sudden was a jellyfish and everybody was going to get stung.
It's a good metaphor.
Thank you, Finding Nemo.
Be Nemo. Don't be stung by the enemy.
So emptiness plays out in the workplace. It plays out in our relationship with our partner, our family, close friends. And it doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that but I can see my boundaries. Mm-hmm. Like there's no mist. There's no vanity, all is vanity. The headlights of life shining on the fog of my interstate, and I can't see that there's a deer just a couple yards ahead of me that I'm going to run into because it's dark and all I see is fog in front of me, and I'm blowing right through the fog, and then bam. Mm-hmm. How do you define the relationship between emptiness and, I want to take it out of the wording of boundaries, process. Because emptiness, for me, there's nothing to do. It just is.
Sure.
I don't do emptiness.
Oh.
I don't make emptiness. I don't create emptiness.
No. Mm-hmm.
I rest into emptiness. Mm-hmm. I let go into emptiness. Mm-hmm. I surrender into emptiness. And there are processes mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, career path, relational growth and development. Like all of these are different processes that are taking place. How does emptiness and all these processes of our development as a human, how does that unfold? What is the framework? How do you fit that into all of your models?
Yeah. Well, every model that I've ever learned about from a kind of a psychological point of view or a career developmental point of view or spiritual point of view, they all lead to emptiness. They all go to the same place. Like the which is such a delight when that recognition starts to turn on. Like when you've studied something for long enough and you've started to really integrate it and you're like, oh, they all say the same thing, just in different ways. And so it kind of doesn't matter what, like you'll get there no matter where you're starting from. So it kind of doesn't matter whether or not you're religious or spiritual, or if you are, you will eventually find the ground of emptiness because it is the thing that's underneath it all. Whether it's, the physical reality or, scientists keep finding themselves there in their theories. Psychologists do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Spiritual people have been doing the same thing for thousands and thousands of years. And it's so I guess in that, I mean, skillful means is still certainly important because, there's all kinds of traps and the ways that we get stuck. And I imagine some paths might make that journey unnecessarily complicated or treacherous. But that's okay, in the long run. In the moment, it can seem pretty awful. So I guess having that understanding affords me, like when I see someone doing something that doesn't jive with what I believe in or where I think matters, there's much less reactivity in my psyche than there used to be. I think it affords me the ability to discern more clearly how and when or if I should do anything about that. Like how I should be in the face of, like, for example, I spent some time with someone in my life who is prone to like conspiratorial thinking, like lots of conspiracy theories. And it was, we'd be going on a hike and it's cloudy out and they're so upset by the clouds in the sky because in their mind the clouds are from chemtrails that were put there by our government, and to the point where they were finding it hard to breathe, like it was causing almost a panic attack.
Wow.
And I was really enjoying the cloudy fog in the atmosphere because it kind of feels like a warm, cozy blanket. Anyway, and they weren't asking me for advice. They weren't saying to me, this thing that I experience when I walk outside is causing me a lot of pain in my life. Do you have any advice for what I can do about it? They were just, they are not ready to let go of that belief that they have. It is, in a sense, doing something in their psyche that they need. Like, it's providing a kind of structure or a meaning, even though it kind of makes them miserable a lot. It's beneficial, so to say, in a way. And it would be cruel for me to try to undermine that. Nor would it work. I mean, it would just be confusing and painful. And so I can recognize that much more than I used to be able to. And I think it's in part because my own understanding of emptiness and boundaries and where I am and where another person is and to what degree does that matter, and like being able to kind of hold a longer term perspective just really, really, really helps me know how to engage with other people more skillfully and not unintentionally create suffering and harm. And I absolutely have. I mean, there's sometimes I reflect on like my early coaching days and even some of my more recent ones, and I think of ways that I've interacted with people or things that I've said, and it's like, fuck, that was not very skillful of me. And
that's how we learn.
Any coach or therapist, that's how it is. It's it's the same as like any job you do or any new hobby you pick up. Like, you're gonna suck at it at first.
There's a learning curve.
Yeah, very much so. But I mean, obviously, we want to ensure we're not harming people. But it just, this is life. This is unavoidable to some degree. So anyway.
Thank you for sharing that. There's a gift in being able to embrace an unlearning or an unknowing. I have a friend who recommended a book. It's called The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And it is a big old thick book.
It sounds like a great book.
And it comes from the Masonic Lodge, some of their writings. Beautiful. Yeah, really enjoying it. And some of the symbolism that is attributed to darkness, it is representing ignorance or unknowing,
Okay.
while light represents knowledge, wisdom, or awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And so within the Masonic Encyclopedia, it describes darkness as a early state or a preliminary state of initiation, where aspiration is shrouded in darkness before receiving the light of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So emptiness is viewed within this system as the process of unknowing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I go to school oftentimes is not so that I can learn what to do as much as what not to do.
Sure.
Like when I go to the pharmacy, I want to know that my pharmacist knows all of the compounds and formulas that aren't going to help me with what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's important. I think it's important to name that this kind of darkness before the light is not evil.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
or I can't. See, we were in class on Monday night, and I had somebody, their head was in front of me, and so I couldn't always see what was on the PowerPoint and the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was some blockage, and I would try to move and get a better vantage point, and they weren't evil, or they don't represent evil. It was just,
Sure.
I couldn't see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the experience in that moment. And so if we think of our process of coming to a place of embracing emptiness, and we think of it as a womb,
Yeah.
or we think of it as a cave, or the soil that a seed goes into, the tomb where the old knowledge has been placed or it's ended, but the new knowledge, the new understanding, the new way of seeing or experiencing hasn't yet arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, when I think and talk about emptiness, there also is the energy of patience with it.
Mm.
Patience for emptiness coming, emptiness being revealed, patience for myself and how I interact and relate and feel and experience. Also, with that patience, humility, because emptiness is not the end.
Mm-hmm.
Emptiness is the journey. And so just because I've done psychedelics and I have entered into a place of emptiness within, the reality actually starts in the next 48 hours after I come down and my neural pathways are calm and settled, and I need to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to follow through on this relationship no longer serves me and I need to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever the clarity of emptiness brought into my experience, everyday normal life is where emptiness plays out. And sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And so there's humility, there's kindness, there's patience with our experience within the context of
this high and lofty, this grand idea within our world philosophies and spiritual traditions of being emptied of self, or being in the experience of total emptiness.
Yeah. I'm recognizing how lately I've had a lot of anxiety and grief around nature, the loss of it, data centers, just pick your whatever topic, as it relates to the natural world around us. And I find myself curious in a way that I don't think I've quite felt before. Like, I wonder what this experience is teaching us as a species, like as a collective experience. It appears to be destructive, and there's so much loss, and there's so much pain and suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And not just on the human level, but then you start to fold in like species that have gone extinct, species that suffer. Like, I listened to a podcast about how cows get shocked from high-powered electricity lines, because cows are particularly conductive. And it was this like heartbreaking, and so much that like they won't drink from their water troughs because they get zapped, and then they die because they're not drinking, like so much so that they will die of thirst and hunger. Anyway, I mean, just horrible. Like, if you think of, and this has been happening basically ever since we invented high-powered electrical lines and all over the world, and I like, you think of the suffering of these poor beasts. Anyway, all of that is to say, there is a kind of curiosity that is starting to emerge around, or maybe a loosening of my own reactivity to the loss or the grief or the anger or the way things are unfolding. And like, I have very, very, very little control over any of it. Like, the world is a really big place.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, how do I be with the enormity of what I can see and what is happening around me and relate to it skillfully? Anyway, I'm feeling the way that there's some curiosity turning on. Which is another way of saying there is some emptiness in this space that wasn't before. And that's kind of a relief.
Thank you for naming that. That is important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you're listening today and a black hole, which is a powerful image for emptiness, because it looks like absence, but a black hole is actually not empty. Scientifically, a black hole is not a hollow hole in space. NASA describes it as an enormous concentration of matter packed into a very, 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 very small region, where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape once it crosses that event horizon. The event horizon is the boundary, or we could call it the point of no return. So symbolically, a black hole is not empty like spaciousness. It is empty like unseeability. It appears dark because no light returns to the observer. It is an absence of visible information, not an absence of reality. A black hole is not actually empty.
Emptiness is not actually empty either.
So I would say that a black hole is an opportunity to find something that connects into our experience, like grief, trauma, shame, even desire,
Yep.
fear, ego collapse, because those experiences can be so dense that light cannot seem to escape from it. Not because there's nothing there, but because there's too much gravity around those human experiences in our lives. Buddhist emptiness points towards openness, interdependence, and freedom from fixed identity. Ecclesiastes' emptiness points towards a vapor-like nature of life where we try to possess it. And a black hole's emptiness points towards collapse, hidden density, and the mystery of what cannot yet return light. So in my life, the question becomes, is this emptiness spacious or is it collapsed? Is it open to me to live fully, or is it pulling all of life into itself? Is it silence or is it gravity?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, go practice some emptiness.
Yeah.
Drink some water. Take a walk.
Yep.
Sit for a little bit.
Yep. Be with yourself however you are.
Love what is. Because what is holding what is that you are loving will never fail you.
Yep.
Thanks, y'all, for sticking with us and listening today. Until next time.
We will see you then.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.